Apparently, Danilo may be leaving Forest next January. Really? Really? And what's going on with Dennis? And on top of that, the kits have been revealed. But why the delay? Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's video, we're going to be talking about these BS rumours that are linking Danilo to be leaving in January from Nottingham Forest. I mean, come on, guys, man. How badly do you want to fill those column inches? We'll be talking about Dennis potentially taking a step down in the size of club he's moving to. But is there an interesting option with that deal? We'll talk about the Nottingham Forest kit and why has it been delayed until mid-July. We'll let you know our thinking behind it. And there's a centre back that's been linked to Nottingham Forest. Before we do all that and get into it all, please don't forget to hit that like button if you are new here. Subscribe to Forest Fans TV. 35% of you watching this right now are not subscribed. So please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Is completely free to do. And guys, check this out. This signed frame Forest shirt with TV screen and LED lights. In fact, let me show you a quick clip of it so you guys get a better idea of it. And then we're going to jump straight into the Danilo story. All right, let's start with this Danilo story. And the talk is, and this is coming out of Brazil, it was reported in ESPN Brazil, that Forest will struggle to hold onto Danilo come the next transfer window in January. They say the kid is such hot property that he's already getting interest from major European clubs, and there will be a real fight on our hands to hold on to him. I don't believe this for a single second. To me, this just seems like Brazilian column inches being filled up trying to hype one of their boys who's gone abroad. It's also probably designed to help other Brazilians leaving Brazil into European leagues by showing examples of players that have succeeded so far in their transition across the Atlantic Ocean. So, do you really believe that Danilo will leave next January? Here's the thing, they're saying that clubs are already showing an interest. How do they know? How do they know that Arsenal or Man City or whoever, PSG, are already thinking about the next window? When most clubs are currently only thinking about, what's in front of them, and that's this summer window. So it would have actually made more sense if they said that this summer window, they would expect Danilo to go. But to try and plan it for next January, where everyone knows transfer deals are the hardest to do as it is, with a player who's under a 6-year contract with Nottingham Forest, is going to be very, very unlikely, in my personal opinion. Add to that as well, he's only been in England for 3 or 4 months, well, maybe a little more now actually, since the January window. And he's settling in and we still haven't even started to see the best of him. And Forest got him for such a cut price, nearly half of what Arsenal were prepared to pay for him, which tells you just how good a deal that actually was. So I expect there to be absolutely no legs in this one. Look, do I expect clubs to be interested in him come January next season? Yes, of course I do, because I think Danilo will grow from strength to strength throughout the season. I really liked what I saw in him. Here at FFTV, we were the first ones screaming for him to get chucked straight into the team because we'd done our research on him and seen just what a hot prospect he was. And in this day and age, these box-to-box style players are worth their weight in gold. Look at Declan Rice pulling over 100k with only a year or two left on his contract. Imagine someone who's younger and in my opinion will be better than Declan Rice with a 6-year deal to his name. How much is he going to be worth in a year, maybe 2 years time once he's fully settled in and everyone's starting to notice him? And then there's talks about this turning into the Brighton model, that Forest are bringing him in cheap and selling him off high, and that Forest should be applauded for doing this. I'm not convinced by this Brighton model. It's not that sustainable. It's not that easy to do. And at some point, the bubble will end up bursting. You can't keep getting hit after hit after hit from the South American leagues, etc. And you can't keep selling them off and hoping to replenish with new, better talent. Yes, they've done it with when they got rid of Basuma and they brought Casado on. They've made good money out of that. They made good money out there left back with Sideshow Bob. But it's going to pop at some point. And yes, it looks good on paper currently, but is it a sustainable model? Because all they're turning into is a feeder club for some of the bigger clubs. It reminds me a little of what Southampton used to do when Southampton used to bring players through the academy or bring them in cheap, and then they'd sell them on, usually to the likes of Liverpool. And where is Southampton now? So sustainability and long-termism is not the best model, in my opinion, in terms of what Brighton do. Although it looks pretty with the amount of zeros they're bringing in on the paycheck. We've got to remember as well, Brighton are one of the most in-debt clubs in the Premier League. So how good is that actual model? Let me know what you think about this, but more importantly, let me know what you think about Danilo. Do you see him as a long-term mainstay with Nottingham Forest? Or will he potentially be sold off in a year or two to do the quote-unquote Brighton model for Forest, maybe to make some profit and reinvest into the team elsewhere? Get your thoughts in down below. Okay, let's move on and talk about the next story. And in a way, it annoys me, but it might please me at the same time. And this is Emmanuel Dennis. Emmanuel Dennis, who Forest have said can go if he wants to go. Who Emmanuel Dennis has said that he would only go if the right offer came. He's already ruled out the likes of Saudi, and he wants to stay in a top European club in a top European division. And then bring Leeds into the equation, who have today announced their interest in Emmanuel Dennis, which is very weirdly interesting. Because one, it doesn't actually fit the criteria that Dennis is looking for in terms of why he would leave Nottingham Forest. But what might be interesting, and this hasn't been tabled yet, is if Forest and Leeds put their hands together, in the words of Joey from Friends, and come up with a swap deal. And what deal am I talking about? I'm talking about Tyler Adams or Willy Gnonto. One of those two players would absolutely be fantastic. For me, personally, I'd try and get Rodrigo and Adams and swap him for Dennis and maybe chuck in a 5 million on top just to shut Leeds up. Because remember, Rodrigo has a 3.5 million release clause in his contract for relegation. And you're looking at about 25 mil for Tyler Adams. The real question is, how much do you value Dennis as? Now, some reports say we bought Dennis for 12 million, some for 10, and some go as high as 20. And Forest will definitely want to recoup as much of that as they can. But if you're swallowing that into a trade deal with the likes of, say, let's just say Tyler Adams for now, who I reckon is worth 25 mil. Forget the 40 mil that Leeds are dumb enough to be plastering on his name. He's worth 25 mil. He's in the Championship. No one should be worth more than that for a Championship club. Well, having said that, Spurs stupidly paid 40 mil for Maddison. Anyway, so if you, let's call him 25 mil, and let's say Dennis's value has dropped down to 15, then really Forest need to table a 5 to 10 million deal to get Tyler Adams over the line. Maybe 5 million straight up or 5 million add-ons. And then you might as well chuck the 3.5 million for Rodrigo in there as well. So although I really want Dennis to stay, and you guys know I backed him all season, he's been underused and not used properly when used, I do feel that if I was going to lose him, or we were going to lose him, should I say, that it would actually work out better if it was in a swap deal, because then both parties are getting something out of it. Leeds will desperately need some kind of quality to push him up to the higher ends of the Championship next season. And although Dennis is way above Championship level, they will do really well to get him on board. However, I can't see them getting him convinced to drop down to Championship level. I do feel there'd be plenty of, maybe not Premier League teams, but top flight European teams that would be interested in Dennis. It's going to get interesting, this one. But at the moment, let me stress that it's only an interest from Leeds, and the whole swap deal is me just talking out loud. But if anyone from Forest is watching, get something done with it. And you guys, get your thoughts in on it down below. Nottingham Forest's biggest, worst-kept secret has been the new sponsorship deal with Adidas. And finally today, this was revealed. Oh my god, talk about shock, horror, mic drop moments. Everyone knew it was coming. But we did reveal to you the kits a couple of weeks ago from the leaked images we had from our mate Matt. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it, bud. And on top of that, we can tell you now that Forest will be releasing the home kit on the 13th of July and the away kit on the 14th of July. I'm making it sound like it's an exclusive to us. It's not. Anyway, the real question that's been doing the rounds right now, and I've had so many questions come my way about this, is why are we so far behind all the other kit reveals? I think Manchester United, who are Adidas as well, revealed their kit a day or two ago. You had Arsenal revealing theirs pretty much at the end of the season. Even Crystal Palace in their Richmond FC kit revealed it weeks ago. So why is it that Forest are delaying the kit reveal so long? And for me, when you do the maths and you put the logic together, you can only come to one conclusion. And that conclusion is that Forest are getting close to doing a new sponsorship deal. We don't want to end up in the scenario we did last season, where we're starting the season with no sponsor, and then the club are going to charge you to put the logo on, even though they said it would be completely free to do. I still am not happy with what they did there. So for me, the only logical reason, and this is me just using my own brain and my own logic, to why Forest are taking so long is because they need to do this launch with some form of sponsorship on there. Now, will it still be with UK refugees? I feel like it won't be this season. I think they're going to go for a money sponsorship this year because it generates good revenue. And as much as I love the UK refugee cause, you have to remember that Forest has to be run as a business. So I expect to see a deal coming through in the next maybe week or two, but logically that can be the only reason why it's delayed so much. Now, if that's not the reason for the delay, then it really is incompetence. I'm sorry, but pretty much 80% of the other clubs, not just in the Premier League, have revealed their kits and are already talking about putting them on sale, if not already on sale in most cases. So logically, that's where I am with it. Do you guys agree with my logic? Or do you think it is incompetence? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's move on to a centre-back link for Nottingham Forest, and that's Alexander Giroud from Strasbourg in France, who actually just avoided relegation by 4 or 5 points last season. The 28-year-old is potentially looking for a move away and has a few suitors that are interested in him, one of which being Nottingham Forest, the others being Besiktas, Mainz, and is the other one, Lille as well. So there is a bit of competition for Forest on this one. No West Ham as of yet. But look, honestly, do I know much about him? Seen him a few times. Have I been overly impressed with him? Not really. He didn't catch my eye. He's okay-ish for pace, not blistering fast. He's good physically as a presence. Plays centre-back, can kind of swing out to right back in an emergency, but tends to play on the right side of a 4 at the back. So probably doesn't really fit the profile that Cooper's looking to go for now. It's clear to see, though, that one of Cooper's big priorities after a goalkeeper is a centre-back, because I still think we're going to start this season with a 3-back/5-back formation, whichever way you want to refer to it. So centre-backs are going to be key. But it will also mean that centre-backs need to leave. And I really do think McKenna may be up for the chopping block sooner rather than later. And maybe even Willy Bolly moved on, even though I think he is top quality. I really do think that if Worrell hadn't had the last couple of games, looking really good and showing improvement, that he too may have been up for the chops. I feel like Felipe, with his guidance, has helped him improve and probably saved Worrell staying at Nottingham Forest. Just my opinion before you lot go crazy. But anyway, back to this defender. He's okay. He's okay. That's the best I can give you. He doesn't set my world alight. He doesn't overexcite me. He doesn't make me think, wow. When we was linked with Niakate last year, I was like, wow, what a player. That's a signing. That's a proper defender who's got real attributes and everything. And we saw that in abundance this year. Well, once he got fit. But overall, I'd still probably prefer him to the likes of Sace and the other granddads that we've been linked to. And, you know, what's funny is we've been linked with Connor Cody, who's now linked with Leicester. So yet again, the goalposts are moving downwards in terms of the standards that of teams that Forest are being up against with certain players. But with this one, I'd be okay with him, but he wouldn't really rock my world. So that's the story for him, and not really too much more to add on that. But get your thoughts on it down below. Okay, so that brings you up to date with your latest Nottingham Forest news. I can't wait to see all your thoughts on the Danilo stuff and the Dennis stuff. Get all those comments down in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already and you are enjoying the transfer content, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you are new here, both completely free to do, and go get yourself those tickets for this amazing framed Nottingham Forest signed shirt with the LED screen. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.